Hey guys, welcome to my channel. So here I am with the first video of my channel on the topic the cell. What do you observe when you look around yourselves? Or the things around you are made up of some basic fundamental units. The tall buildings you see around you have thousands of bricks as their fundamental units. The sentences you read in your favorite books are made up of hundreds of letters. In the same way, a living being too is made up of billions of fundamental units known as cells. So we can say that a cell is the basic structural and functional unit of all living beings. It is capable of an independent existence and can perform the essential functions of life. Cells perform different activities in unicellular and multicellular organisms. In an unicellular organism, it carries all the vital functions like excretion, movement, reproduction, etc. And in multicellular organism, cells undergo differentiation to make up different tissues and organs for performing specific functions. But before we dive any further into our topic, let's learn about how the cells were discovered. So it all goes back to 1668 when a Dutch scientist, Anton van Leeuwenhoek, constructed around 400 simple microscopes, each containing a single biconvex lens. Inspired by this, an English scientist, Robert Hooke, constructed the first compound microscope using two pieces of lenses. He examined a thin slice of cork under his microscope and observed that it was made of tiny box-like compartments, which he called cells. Now moving ahead, let's discuss the diversity in cells. So children, there are about 8.7 million species of living beings in the world, each having a different body structure. So it is obvious that the fundamental units of their bodies also show some variations. So first of all, let's discuss the diversity in the shape of cells. A cell may be circular and concave like the red blood cells, or it may be amoeboid like the white blood cells that can squeeze out through the narrow blood vessels. Now let's move towards the diversity in the number of cells. Children, as we all know, there are two types of organisms: unicellular organisms having only a single cell in their body, and multicellular organisms like humans and plants have millions of cells in their bodies. Thirdly, let's talk about the diversity in the size of cells. The largest cells are the bird's eggs. For example, the ostrich egg is the largest single cell of the living world today. And the smallest cells are the bacterial cells whose size ranges from 0.3 micrometer to 0.5 micrometer. Now let's move on towards the cell theory, which states three major points. These points were stated by three scientists: Matthias Schleiden, a German botanist; Theodor Schwann, a German zoologist; and Rudolf Virchow. It states three main points. The first one is all organisms are composed of one or more cells. This was stated by Matthias Schleiden. The second one is the cell is the basic unit of structure and organization in organisms. This was stated by Theodor Schwann. And the last one is all cells come from pre-existing cells. This one was stated by Rudolf Virchow. Now let's move towards our main topic, the components of the cell or the cell structure. All kinds of cells show some basic structural plan which consists of three essential parts. The first part is cell membrane and cell wall. The first point is cell wall is only found in plant cells, which means that plant cells have cell wall as their outermost covering, while the animal cells, which include human cells, have cell membrane as their outermost covering. The second point is cell membrane is selectively permeable, which means that it allows only certain substances to pass through it. Here, you must note that the cell wall is freely permeable. Therefore, the cell wall allows all the substances to pass through it, which are later filtered by the cell membrane. The third point is cell wall is made up of cellulose. So children, the plant cell wall is made up of cellulose. It may also be made up of some other substances in different eukaryotes, like in fungi it is made up of chitin. The fourth point is it surrounds the cell and gives rigidity and shape to the cell. The cell wall and cell membrane are also required for maintenance of the cell shape and for the rigidity of the cell. Now let's learn about the cytoplasm. The cytoplasm is a semi-liquid substance and consists of all parts inside the plasma membrane excluding the nucleus. A living cytoplasm is always in a state of some movement. The third point is chemical reactions take place in the cytoplasm. Because of the presence of different organelles in it, various kinds of reactions keep taking place inside it. Now let's move on towards the nucleus. The nucleus is also known as the brain of the cell, since it controls all the activities taking place in the cell. The second point is that it plays an important part in cell division because of the presence of thread-like structures called chromatin fibers which forms the chromosomes. And the last point is that it is responsible for heredity. Since the chromosomes are the bearer of genes that controls hereditary characters, the nucleus is also responsible for heredity. Now, the cytoplasm contains various minute living structures known as cell organelles, which carry out a definite function and work in a coordinated way. The cell organelles are similar to the organs present in our body, which perform a definite function and work in a coordinated way. The cell organelles are listed below. The first is the endoplasmic reticulum, ribosomes, mitochondria, Golgi apparatus, lysosomes, centrosomes and centrioles, plastids, and cell inclusions. Similarly, the nucleus too has some parts which perform definite functions: the nucleolus, chromatin fibers, nucleoplasm, and the nuclear membrane. We'll learn more about the cell organelles and parts of the nucleus in the next video. So, thank you for watching the video. And do not forget to like, share and subscribe the channel. Thank you.